especially you and especially CNN. And the Secretary of Defense cares deeply about our war fighters and our men and women in uniform. He travels all across this country to meet with them, to connect with them, and your network has hardly ever probably reported on that. You and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad.
It's no secret that the mainstream media has been gunning for Trump since day one, especially now with his decisive actions in the Iran-Israel war turning the tide against that terrorist regime. Networks like CNN twist every story to fit their anti-Trump narrative, downplaying wins and amplifying any perceived misstep. Take this recent White House briefing. Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt is fielding questions from Kaitlan, who's trying to spin Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's heartfelt comments about our fallen service members into some gotcha moment. Hegseth was honoring those heroes lost in the strikes, but Collins acts like it's a slip-up. Watch how Leavitt flips the script, calling out the disingenuous reporting right there on live TV.
For these families. Given what Secretary Hegseth said this morning, is it the position of this administration that the press should not prominently cover the deaths of U.S. service members?
No, it's the position of this administration that the press in this room and the press across the country should accurately report on the success of Operation Epic Fury and the damage it is doing to the rogue Iranian regime that has threatened the lives of every single American in this room. If the Iranian regime had their choice, they would kill every single person in this room. And so we can all be very grateful that we have an administration and that we have men and women in our armed forces who are willing to sacrifice their own lives for the rest of us in this room and for every American across the country and for every troop that is based in the Middle East. That's what these...
Secretary Hegseth was complaining that it was front page news about these 6 service members who were killed.
That's not what the Secretary said, Kaitlan, and that's not what the Secretary meant, and you know it. You know you are being disingenuous. There is not... We've never had a Secretary of Defense who cares more...
Get through or tragic things happen. It's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad. Yeah, as you know, we cover the deaths of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. That's a bit to me, especially you and especially CNN. And the Secretary of Defense cares deeply about our war fighters and our men and women in uniform. He travels all across this country to meet with them, to connect with them, and your network has hardly ever probably reported on that. You also had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Chairman Kane, who's a brave patriot, standing alongside the secretary at the Pentagon this morning, again expressing his condolences to these families. And I just told you that the President of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer. So please,
that's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
We expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Kaitlan. But you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad.
Man, that was satisfying. Leavitt didn't back down an inch, pointing out how CNN ignores the big picture of Trump dismantling Iran's threats while obsessing over semantics. It's classic leftist media playbook: cheer when Democrats escalate endless wars like in Ukraine, but nitpick and hate on Trump when he actually gets results with minimal casualties. Why? Because success under Trump shatters their chaotic dictator story. If you've ever yelled at your TV over biased coverage, this one's for you. Alright, let's talk about how the left ties itself in knots over basic biology these days. With all the gender ideology pushed in schools and government, Democrats like Minnesota Governor Tim Walz champion inclusion policies that blur lines and confuse kids. But when Rep. Nancy Mace, a no-nonsense Republican, corners him in this congressional hearing about misusing federal funds for radical programs, she hits him with the simplest question: what is a woman? It's not some trick, it's cutting through the nonsense. Walz, who's all in on trans rights and DEI mandates, completely unravels, dodging and accusing her of obsession instead of answering straight. This hearing was about accountability for taxpayer dollars going to extreme agendas, but watch how it exposes the left's fear of clear definitions.
What is a woman? Have you learned that lesson? Do you know what a woman is?
I'm the governor of Minnesota, Congresswoman.
You know what a
I'm not
woman
here
is.
to be your prop for your obsession.
So
I
if you
taught middle
can't
school your
define what
obsession.
a woman is, you certainly can't define what fraud is. If you can't even define what a woman is, you can't define fraud. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Congresswoman.
Did you prepare for this hearing today? Did you do any preparation
I take
for this
Congress
hearing today?
seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today, okay? Are you ready? How much money was spent on 2017 for autism in Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today? $1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million was spent. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me. As
Were you governor in 2024?
I was, but I'm not the
Okay,
head
so
of
your
HHS.
excuse before that you didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable. $343 million.
Wow, did you see Ward squirm? He couldn't even say adult human female without melting down. That's the guy leading a state, folks. The left preaches tolerance but explodes when challenged on their own contradictions, like pushing gender fluidity in schools while claiming it's science. Remember how they mocked Trump for basic truths? Now they're the ones avoiding reality. This hypocrisy fuels the hate. They call Republicans bigots for defending biology but can't handle a direct question. If this fired you up, hit like and tell me in the comments. In the thick of Trump's successful campaign against Iran's supreme leader and terror networks, radical Democrats like Representative Ilhan Omar are out here siding with the enemy more than America. She's been vocal against US foreign policy for years. Now, in this fiery speech, she's demanding Congress halt what she calls Trump's illegal forever war, ignoring that Iran started this with missile attacks and threats. Watch her rally the left to invoke war powers, comparing it to past interventions, while conveniently forgetting how Democrats backed Obama's unauthorized Libya strikes without a word. This isn't about peace, it's about undermining Trump at every turn, even if it means sympathizing with a regime that oppresses women and funds terrorism.
Is unilaterally dragging this nation into an illegal and unjustified war with Iran. As someone who survived the horrors of war, I know that bombs do not build peace or create stability. Military strikes will not make us safer. They will inflame tensions and push the region further into chaos. Every time we abandon diplomacy, we choose destruction. We know who will bear the costs of this decision: innocent civilians caught in the crossfire and young service members sent into harm's way. The American people are exhausted by endless wars built on false promises and paid for with American and foreign lives. Congress must reassert its constitutional authority. I urge my colleagues to vote yes to stop U.S. involvement in another illegal forever war. Thank you, and I yield back.